I visited a lot of countries over the last 11 years in my pursuit to eat a bowl of cornflakes in every one of them. In November 2013, Malta became my 65th. Malta is a tiny country just 80 kilometres off the coast of Sicily, which is most well known in modern times for its extensive tourist trade, and we found ample evidence in the hotels, bars and cafes all over the islands.
What you got, Rich? Sausages on toast, salad, daddy sauce.
And although the facilities were useful on occasion, me and my mate Rich were there for a slightly different experience, as we came on a budget and backpacked around the islands while making a couple of films for the modern explorers. To keep it cheap, we camped, but finding a spot to hide the tents wasn't easy in the fourth most densely populated country in the world. With 5.5 weeks to play with, we spent the first week at an eco-friendly village on the west of Malta, not far from Shegye. I went seeking new experiences and to investigate off-grid living, and wasn't disappointed as we were given tasks which I'd never tried before. We were given lessons and taught by knowledgeable locals. We were given a tour as part of one of our filming projects, and we met some really interesting people, all volunteering for a range of different reasons. After a week we hit the road to explore some of the island's ancient sites. We hiked, we hitchhiked, and we took the bus to all corners as they were decorated all over the place. And we jumped on the ferry to Gozo as there were loads over there as well. We walked through some beautiful scenery and saw loads of cliff-infested coastline. Camping not only kept the cost of the trip down, but also allowed us to sleep at some remote spots.
Our first morning on Gozo. There's the view from my tent. Pretty. This is Comino. A tiny island between Malta and Gozo. That's Blue Lagoon. A famous spot for tourists to go swimming.
And although backpacking and camping leaves you at the mercy of the weather, and we were there at the wettest time of the year, we still managed. My first taste of Maltese culture came in the form of their tasty pastry treats.
One cheese, 1p pastizzi. Bloody delicious, and at 30p each, these could make our trip cheap, mate. Really good. Although it used to be 7p, the locals tell us that it used to be 7p before Malta joined the European Union, so it's a typical story, isn't it? The euro comes in, the prices go skyrocketing.
Something that stood out for me while travelling around was the huge churches that didn't seem to match the size of the towns. This one is in Shegye, a rural village with a population of 3,000. And this was a common thing, so I chose to have some cornflake shots outside some of them. And to compare to the UK, take a look at the church in my village with a population of 7,000 people. We visited Mostar to take a look at the impressive dome, which is in the top 10 list of biggest domes in the world. We chose to do some filming there as well, as it was supposed to have been built on top of an ancient temple. So this is a replica of the bomb that hit the church in 1942, and it came straight through the dome when there was 300 people inside and didn't explode. And it's considered to be a bit of a miracle, so pretty interesting. I think the original was bigger than this. Malta was one of the most bombed regions in the Second World War, as it was in an important strategic location, and the Maltese people really showed their spirit in the way they resisted. We were invited to dinner by a Scottish artist who had been living there 11 years and really resonated with the spirit of the people and allowed us to sleep on her roof. And the spirit was obvious as we came to see a local band play at a fundraising event. We came across some of the more famous sites as well, such as the port in Valletta. Or the Medina in Rabat. But the only thing we could find about the Knights Templar was a museum and some tacky souvenirs. But most of the time we were in the sticks, and one morning we woke up to a guy taking his horse for a swim. While in Bajiba we came across our first temple, surrounded by a huge hotel.
Temple with a hotel built around it. Here's what temples are used for in modern times. Pissed people climbing all over them.
And this was the main reason we were there, to visit some of the oldest freestanding structures in the world, officially older than Stonehenge or the pyramids in Egypt.
So this is Gigantija Temple, a name that's pretty difficult to say and is derived from the fact that local legends say that this was built by giants. And you can see why. I'm probably about 6 or 7 meters from it, and it's got to be 6 or 7 meters tall, made from some of these humongous blocks here. Some have got to be in the range of 10 to 15 tons. Now this is the striking feature of this temple, this huge outer wall, but there's other features as well which I'm going to show you now, which are similar to some of the temples we've already seen on Malta. So a feature that we do see all around the world, or in other places in the world, are these doorways. I've seen them personally on dolmen in Turkey, and I know they've been found in places like Russia. But it looks really nice carved out in the stone like that. 2 features here, one of which spirals, it looks like a Fibonacci spiral, is found in other places. But these dots that look like they're just drill holes into the rock, I think they're pretty unique to Malta. And there are many stones. This altar here you can see, which looks like a prehistoric bar stool.
There were all sorts of ancient sites, as Malta has a rich history. We saw menhirs and standing stones.
So we're just walking towards the temple stone circle now on what's this fucking island called?
Gozo.
So we're here close to Mostar, a couple of dolmen. They're not the most impressive dolmen we've ever seen, but there's quite a few in this area. You can see around us, I mean, there's a road running right behind Rich, and there's loads of houses behind us. So it shows how there could have been a hell of a lot of dolmen and standing stones and all these things, but they've just been built on top of.
We met up with a shaman on Gozo who showed us an interesting stone. But the most unique thing there was the cart ruts, which we saw everywhere.
So we've been seeing cart ruts all over the island, and we've come here to St George's Bay right on the east to show some cart ruts that are leading off into the water. Now for us this adds to the mystery, because if these were made by carts, then what were these submarine carts or something? I mean, Graham Hancock's shown them to be really deep in different parts of the waters around the island. We've also come across plenty of shapes cut into the rock. Here we've got this, what we think is a modern day structure. Looks like something you can, tie your boats to or something, and then it's like there's JCB marks here. But there's also all sorts of circular holes cut into the rock and rectangular kind of cuts here. For example, you've got a rectangular or square shape cut into the rock here. There's a channel leading around here. There's another rectangular shape here. So there's all sorts of weird shapes cut into the rock, which we can't age these, but considering they're so close to the cart ruts, there's another set of cart ruts over here, and considering they're all in between, it's not ridiculous to suggest that these were, carved out by the same people. Better be quick with the Maltese corn flake experience. Yummy. Bit of milk. What are they going to taste like? Let's have a... Hannah, you need to improve your recipe, I'm afraid. These are probably some of the worst cornflakes I've ever tasted. But just for my cause and my mission, I'm going to continue eating. Here you can see cart ruts. I've chosen to eat my flakes here because this is a famous sight you see on Malta. They're all over the place. Ancient structure that's probably been carved out by ancient carts, which I think is bullshit personally, but that's the official story. So, yeah, yummy.